Hey friends, as you can tell, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm pretty tired. It was another long day. And today I want to talk about being highly sensitive, especially being a highly sensitive male. It was something that I never really knew about or understood until I started writing. I am not an expert by any means. I just speak on my own personal experience. And so I consider myself to be a pretty highly sensitive, empathetic person. I mean, I have my moments where I'm not always empathetic or understanding, but I think deep inside I am one of those people. And what that means is I feel things more deeply. I'm more emotional than most people, certainly most men. And sometimes it's a good thing when you can connect with somebody else, when you can be there for a friend, when you can listen. That's a wonderful thing. But I also I'm oversensitive about things. You know, I get hurt very, very easily. It doesn't take much to hurt me, and it could be a slight of some sort. It could be a nasty remark or even a look, and it will keep me thinking for days. Like, you know, if or if I feel ignored or something like that. And it's very difficult. And it's very difficult to have all these sort of intense emotions. And for a long time, I didn't have an outlet. I wasn't writing. I wasn't communicating with people. I go to therapy, and it didn't really help because it was great to talk about it, but it was like I didn't have anyone to relate to. So I felt totally alone in this. And again, especially as a guy, you know, we live in a society where men are supposed to be a certain way. Men are supposed to be tough. Men are supposed to be masculine. They're supposed to like sports and cars and all that shit. And I'm not one of those people. I can't be. I mean, I would love to be. If it meant having more friends and having a girlfriend and not being so vulnerable all the time and not being put down, I would love to be that. But I can't. I can only be me. So, in some ways, it's a good thing. I remember I went out one night to this bar, and I was sitting out there and I was smoking a cigarette and kind of looking around to the women that I could talk to. And this woman walks up to me and she starts talking to me, like out of the blue. She asked me for a cigarette. And we're talking, and we're just talking about like these deep things. And she stops me in the middle of me talking and goes, you know, I just want to tell you that you're a very sensitive person. You know, unlike a lot of the guys here, you're very sensitive. And it's difficult. She goes, it's difficult for you probably to relate to people because people don't understand that deepness or that depth. You know, I don't know how to talk about the weather. I don't know how to talk about the game. I'm just an emotional person. And this person saw that. It was a really odd moment. Because very rarely, especially a woman who's beautiful, very rarely does that happen. So that was, so I'll turn around a bit. That was a really good moment. But it's difficult. It's difficult to relate to people. I'll give you a prime example. You know, if I'm at a work setting, and I'm having my break, and 9 times out of 10, people are watching sports on television and talking about sports. And I feel very out of place. You know, I feel very out of place in that situation and uncomfortable. And so I kind of walk around with all these intense feelings, all these intense emotions, unable to express it in real life. You know, I can go online and I can write about it, or I can text a friend or make a post, but a lot of the things that I say in my post, I could never say offline. I could never say in real life because it's just awkward, and it's tough. It's tough to make friends. It's certainly tough to date. Dating is just for me out of the question. I wish it were different because I know that most women, are looking for more masculine men they don't want a man that's more emotional than them. That's for sure. And so it's difficult to be a highly sensitive person, especially I think in our society, where being extroverted is pushed. It's something that successful people are introverted. I mean, are extroverted. They're the life of the party. They go social events. It's like even in school, you know, they expect for you to get up there and speak in front of a group. And a part of me was thinking, well, that's not me. I don't know how to do that. I mean, I know how to write. I know how to write you a paper and tell you, but it's not something I can do. Even this right now, I'm nervous. I'm very nervous on video. So the fact I'm doing this, I guess, is progress. But having all these these emotions. So, and then sometimes, like I said, the only way that I relate to people at this point in my life is through my writing and through online, because I can edit, I can pause, I can think carefully about what I'm going to say, and if I say something, let's say that I don't like, I can always delete it. So it's and I think a lot of people go through this. It's like we can express ourselves. We can write like crazy, and that's the inner part of us. But we can never express it out loud. And it's so frustrating. I mean, even as a kid, I just had trouble relating to people. I mean, like in my earlier videos, I relate, you know, mostly to women. But even that's difficult because not all women like writing, and not all women understand or appreciate sensitive men. My personal experience in real life is most don't. You know, if I mention writing, very few are interested. And the other thing about being highly sensitive is overstimulation. I didn't know that was a highly sensitive trait. You know, I have ADHD and I have other stuff going on. But apparently, part of this is I get overstimulated by multiple sights, multiple sounds. Excuse me. Like, for example, like if I'm at work, I hear everything. I hear the beeping of the cash register. I hear the kid crying, you know, from the other end of the store. I hear people on their phone, and all of it is just a complete blur. And it's exhausting. It's really tiring, actually. My brain can't process all of that noise, and so I get kind of lost. So I make mistakes because I'm just overwhelmed. And then there's people kind of moving in the back of me, and then there's people kind of pushing me to the side because they need to move, and it's tiring, you know, not just from a physical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint. We just process things differently. And to be honest, I've never actually met another highly sensitive person that's been open about it, or a highly sensitive male. I remember when I was a little kid, when I was younger, like a teenager, like after my brother died, excuse me, I would look at the girls and how they related to each other and how they sort of were there for each other, and they talked things out. And in a sense, I wanted that. I wanted that with my male friends, and I could never get that. I could never find a male friend that was that I could really relate to and talk to about these things. And so when it came to my brothers specifically, yeah, I came to the girls. And I just, I appreciate my friendships with women. I do. I love them. They're important people, like almost like sisters. But there's a part of me that wishes that I could relate to other guys. There's a part of me that wishes that I could join in that conversation about the Panthers game or cars, and I can't. I mean, I would be a not being real. I'd be fake if I were to do that. And I often ask myself, you know, why? Why am I like this? What causes me to be like this? Because on one sense, I love relating to people. I love writing. I love your comments, and I love messages and all those things. But at the same time, I don't like to be so vulnerable. I don't like to be so open. I don't like to be so emotional or oversensitive, but that's who I am. So I struggle with it. I struggle with it. I don't like to be vulnerable. I don't. I know there was a point in time where I shared everything on social media. Everything I'd been feeling, I shared, and I got a lot of support. But I also felt like, gee, maybe I shared too much, and I sort of beat up on myself, and I struggled with it for a long, long time. How much should I share? Is it making people uncomfortable? How are they reacting? And that's that oversensitivity is where what may not bother you bothers me for days or weeks or years. Something as little as, me liking a girl in the past and it not working out. And instead of being able to sort of just walk away and say, oh, well, it hurt, but I'll get over it. A part of me, you don't get over it. It's like that oversensitivity. And it's really painful. And like I said, the worst thing is that people just don't understand. People don't understand highly sensitive people. But we're, in a sense, is a beautiful thing because we're writers, we're artists, we're creators. We make the world a better place. I mean, look at people like Mozart or Beethoven or Michelangelo or somebody like all the writers. They were and are highly sensitive people, and we need that. We need that balance because the world is a tough, cold, nasty place, and we need sensitive people. We need kindness and we need love because the world needs it. The world needs it. So I would say, even though it can be tough at times, to embrace it. And it's worth it. I mean, to be able to connect with another human being is just the most incredible thing to me. And so for me, when someone says, oh, well, David's so nice or David's so sensitive, that's like the biggest compliment in the world. I'd rather have someone say David's kind and sensitive than say David's the strongest guy in the world or the best looking guy in the world. Or my mission is to be a kinder, more sensitive person. And it's not a cliche, it's for real. So I hope that when I comment on people's pages or I send you a message that you can see it's genuine, because I do care. I care deeply, and I hope one day to find people in real life who is just as sensitive and care just as much. But I don't know. I'm not. I don't know. I just hope to find people that someday. So anyways, thank you.